My brother, I feel like, is a man baby.
Is a man baby.
Yeah, I feel like he, my parents enable him.
Yeah.
And he's not appreciative. He takes advantage of them. And I don't know. But some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth, I'm like, what?
Like what? What would be something recently?
He gets free rent, and he's pissed off that he has to drive an hour commute to work.
Yeah.
He feels like my dad has a couple properties, so he feels like he's entitled to live on one of my dad's properties that are closer to his job in Marina Del Rey, but for free. Not paying anything, not even paying utilities. And I have a long list of stories of Alexander. And I've told him this before when we talked about manning up.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want you, I was like, I know you have so much more potential. Because I agree. I think manning up it's just like this term that I feel like is so general, and it's more hurtful, I feel like, when you tell somebody that. When really it's like, I need to explain to you what I need you to do instead of man up.
Yeah.
I just know my brother has more potential than that, than to rely on my parents, to pay for everything. And it's not like he's like, thanks, Mom. Thanks for paying for 2 parking tickets a week for me. He's just like, doesn't say anything. It goes to the house. When they get upset with him, he's like, what? Yeah, there's no parking.
It seems to me like he has not had an experience where he has had to truly reach down and try harder.
Yeah.
And feel like, oh, I am no one's going to save me. The safety net is not there.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I've told him before, I'm like, when Mom and Dad pass away, and I'm the oldest,
yeah.
I was like, you will get no sympathy from me. None.
Do you feel responsible to be a female role model for your brothers?
I feel like my mom is a strong female role model. Mm-hmm. My mom is amazing. She's amazing. She's so caring. She loves, I could cry if I talk about my mom enough.
Tell me more about your mom.
I know. She just heart of gold. And the first thing that pops in my head, Ariel Oda. And the first thing that pops in my head is she would give her shirt off her back for you. She is so kind and giving. She is always, trying to get to know people more. Don't get me wrong. She gets in her mood sometimes where she's just like, me and my family and that's it.
Yeah.
But other than that, she's just a great example. I feel so blessed that I do have a mother like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I feel like I have to step up with my brother, because I'm like, you need to respect your mother more. She does so much for you. She,
my gosh, it
pays for everything for him, which is probably why, like you said, he feels like he has a safety net.
Being an oldest sister, do you take on that role in your friendships?
I probably do. I probably take on a lot more than I should. I'm a very giving friend. Mm-hmm. I even feel weird saying that.
Yeah, you think about yourself so little that you won't even say that you are thinking of yourself so little.
But my friends always tell me, they're like, you're too nice. If it's someone's baby shower, I will sign up to do all the crafts, all the gifts. Mm-hmm. I love crafts. I love, just sewing and everything. It's just like another creative outlet for myself.
Yeah.
But I probably just take on too much. This last month, I've had weddings and quinceañeras and birthdays and more weddings. And, a couple of them, I just probably bit off more than I could chew.
Yeah.
But, it was something that I just wholeheartedly wanted to help them with.
Of course.
I don't know. Does
it stress you out?
Oh my God, yeah.
Does it?
I'll cry in the shower.
Does it take away from your
my
things
joy?
Your joy, but things that you want to do for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is Oprah calls that the disease to please.
Oh, yeah. I believe
and
it.
She has that. I definitely have that.
Yeah.
When she's, I listen to her podcast all the time. She's my favorite.
I didn't know she had a podcast.
It's incredible.
Wow.
This podcast honestly exists because I've been listening to hers for a year.
Really?
Oh yeah, big time.
Oh my God, shout out
Super
to
Soul
Oprah.
Conversations.
Yeah.
She's better than you even think she is.
Yeah.
But she brings this up a lot because it's something a lot of people have, especially women have this, I think, is what her point is. Mm-hmm. And do you ever allow yourself times to say no?
No. No. Because in my mind, for instance, I'll sign up to do day of wedding coordinating for free. I've never once got paid for it.
And even though they're friends, it's still work. Yes. You probably should still be paid something.
Most of them are not my friends. They're friend of friends or they're family member friends.
So that's...
Yeah, that can get...
Yeah, you...
Yeah. You say no.
You got to cut that out.
Well, this last one was my actual friend.
Right.
But before that, it was getting out of control. I mean, I was driving to Corona for a friend of a friend. And, I think I just reason in my mind where I'm like, I'm not married, but I know how expensive some of my friends are married. Yeah. So I know how expensive weddings are. So I'm just, I don't know. I think I'm helping somebody out.
Is somebody going to do that for you to the level that you have?
But should I think of that all the time?
No. But I do. But that's true. Absolutely. Yeah. It's not all about fair.
Yeah. And I try not to think of that when I am giving, whether it's a gift or my time. Well, obviously it's more my time.
Yes.
But I try not to think like, well, would you do this for me? Because then I could say that about everything.
That's true.
And I can even say that about friends I have. But I agree. When they're not really my friends.
Sure. I mean, to me, though, it almost sounds like, and you do, I'm going to guess you wouldn't do this if you didn't at least like the work of it. Because you're good at it.
Yeah.
So hopefully you like it. Is that something that you've ever thought about doing as a side hustle or something like that?
No, because I think I hate it more than I like it. I mean, I like it.
It's just a gift that you are giving.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Maybe it's because I've never gotten paid. Maybe that's why I hated it. Maybe if I got paid, I would start to like it.
That's the thing. Like, if you are good at this.
Yeah.
I know so many people, me included. I just started a small business of a bar crawl. It's just like one of these things where it's like, it's not bad to just have this little thing and it's flexible, or you do it on weekends. It has nothing to do with your acting career.
That is amazing for you.
I love it.
Can you let me know about that after?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it sounds to me like this thing.
Yeah.
Just something to think about. I'm just tossing it out there.
Yeah. No, I've thought about that. I think it's the idea of starting a business that's slowing me down.
Oh, yeah.
Of like, oh, well, what am I going to do? I got to sign up, blah, 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 file taxes, whatever. But I'm sure if I got the ball rolling, I mean, I feel like I have 8, maybe a little less than 8 recommendations now. I've done so many weddings. Yeah. It's crazy.
And just, yes, it is a lot of work on the front end, but you already have word of mouth. You've done it enough where you've figured out how.
Yeah.
So you've already done the R&D. You could just start, and then the paperwork, and I'm just figuring that out now, and it's like, it's just a little extra time on a weekend.
So it wasn't that difficult.
It wasn't. This is not what we usually talk about on the show, but I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing it.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing does this flow into your relationship? Does that affect your relationship, your disease to please?
Probably a little bit in my friendships. I notice it's not necessarily, my closest friends aren't, they know me, like, your top 5, maybe even your top 10. They know you enough to know, like, they're not going to ask me that type of stuff because they're the ones telling me stop.
Good.
You need to chill out. You're too nice.
When people say you are too nice, where do you think that there's truth to that, and where do you think that comes from? What is the spark of this amount of niceness? Because for the most part, I don't think that's a negative thing.
Yeah.
I think too nice is, there should be more too nice people.
I agree. But at the same time, I think, I definitely agree with that. I wish there were more too nice people.
Yes. Or just nice people.
Just nice people. Yeah. Let's just even start out with that. Yeah. Because I feel like maybe I wouldn't need to be too nice if there was more nice people.
Right.
But I think it just comes from my beliefs with God. I want to help out people. I try to, not even try, I think my last issue was I had a family from Indiana who were here, and they were trying to live here for a year. I host all the time, which is totally fine with me. But, when I'm hosting, I guess lately I haven't gotten the, like, appreciative attitude that I wish I've gotten. I've gotten, like, kids. I mean, they're my cousins, but they're, like, teenagers. So I get attitude, or I get, like, rude comments. Like, one of them was like, I'm 35, and, they're giving me shit for not being married. They were like, I hope you don't want to have a baby. And I was like, I do want to have a baby. They're like, oh, girl, you better, it's not going to happen. But I mean, I guess you could try now. And like I said,
rude.
Yeah.
Deeply, deeply rude.
Yeah, I hear shit like that all the time.
Do you feel like you commit as much to your own goals as you do to helping out other people?
Not at all. Not at all. And I think that's why, I don't know, it just becomes a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know, in my brain, I'm like, well, let me put down everything I'm doing and help you. Because, in acting, there's always something you can do every day towards it.
Right.
You really could. You could write.
Always.
You could do a scene. Just do one with your phone, and there's something that will pop up almost every day for me to think of, like, oh, I should just do this with a friend. It's, a minute long. It could be dumb, but whatever, just do it. But I'll put that to the side because I'm like, well, I got to knock out, I don't know, 1,000 balloons to help out my friend or something like that. But I hear that shit. The last time when you first asked me to be on this podcast, it was particularly that. I just feel like I always, and I hope I'm not the only woman. I'm sure this is, a lot of other women agree with me. I just have been getting asked, I feel like it was fucking every day of, are you married? Why aren't you married? When are you going to get married? What's going on with, like, when, always, every day. It could be from the same person sometimes. It was almost like a default question from some people. It's like, no ring. Okay. When are you getting married? Do you want to get married? Why aren't you guys married? How long have you been together? Oh my God, you guys have been together how long?
Yeah.
You need to leave him then. Blah, blah, blah. And I was with my dad and we went to dinner. We were catching up. Alexander going crazy again, saying some stupid shit. He was sleeping on the couch one too many nights, and that's a pet peeve for my mom. You can't sleep on the couch with no sheets.
He's got a bed.
Yeah, oils on she doesn't like that. She thinks that's nasty. So anyway, they're going into arguments about that. And then when my dad was dropping me off back at the house, he was like, I forgot how we got into it about it, but he was like, do you even want to marry him? About my boyfriend. And I'm like, why is it me? Why do you think I don't want to get married? And me and my boyfriend we've had many very serious conversations of, like, what is going on? Because we've been together forever, ever. And he just, it was just something that I didn't press. I figured it'll happen. I was very casual about it. I'm very casual about marriage. I'm not in a rush. But it's like, once you fucking turn 30, everybody, do you get asked all the time?
No, I think this is probably something that women experience way more than men.
And it's ridiculous.
Because there is this invisible clock, unfortunately, that people believe.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for me, I never ask those questions because it's straight up not my business.
For real.
And even from a parent, it is, but it's not.
Yeah.
Because as long as you know how someone's doing, you can trust.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, and part of it for you is you're hearing this, it's a reflection of them, number one, but two, you're hearing it as, you don't trust me to make my own decisions with my life.
Yeah.
And that hurts and that sucks.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm sure that's a little bit how it feels, right?
Especially when it comes from not strangers, but like, coworkers, friend of friends, or like friends that aren't my tight, top 10 friends. It's just kind of like, are you ready to go down the rabbit hole? Because we could talk about this right now of, like, why I'm not married. I had this guy at work and he's cool, love him to death, but he liked to joke yesterday, literally it just happened yesterday, and he nicknamed me not married.
That is such a fucking cruel bullshit thing to do.
And it wouldn't bother me as much. And like I said, I'm very casual about marriage, but I think...
No, that's bullying. He's straight up bullying you.
Me and him are super cool too, where we can, like, joke-ish about each other. But I was like, I even told him, I was like, really? I was like, that's the most tackiest joke. I was like, you shouldn't even say it here. There's other women who work here who are older than me who are not married, and they'll rip you to shreds. I was like, so I'm going to be nice and just tell you shouldn't say that, because someone overhearing could call HR on you, and they rightfully so should.
But also, because he should stop, not even for anybody else, but because of you, because that's a cruel thing to say to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Buck stops there.
Yeah, like I was like,
it is not even about anybody else.
I was trying to be chill about it and be like, I don't even care that I'm not married, which I'm still in this, like,
Well, how do you feel about it right now? Yeah.
I do want to get married.
Yes.
I do want to get married. My boyfriend's name is Val, and I have pressed him for it as of recent.
Yes.
After you hear it one too many times, it's like, what is our plan for marriage? When do you plan? And the
questions were coming up for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, not just because people are wondering, whatever, but because the universe was forcing you to think about it.
We've been together for so long that I totally agree. We should have thought sooner, but hey, I just don't want to harp on the past too much.
Sure.
Let's start planning for it now. So, I see him making an effort. I see him trying harder. He's working harder at work to make sure he earns more. Mm-hmm. He started, the minute I told him ship up or shape out, he signed up to get his master's the next day. He's very serious. He wants to go into data analytics. I'm very proud of him. I mean, he just passed his final with 94%. So I can tell he's really trying. But on my side, like I said, I get this, and it's hard not to come home with that weight on you of everybody asking, when are you going to get married? Why have you been with him for so long? That's why you shouldn't have moved in with him, which I agree in some degree, when couples move in together before they're married. But at the same time, we just wanted to. It felt right. It was fine.
You can't game a relationship.
Yeah.
Too many people think the game, even just, we're talking about toxic masculinity, the idea of getting girls or getting guys, getting them. That's not how it works. If you trust your heart, you follow your heart, you go, in this instance, I don't want to live separate from you.
Yeah.
Our lives are enmeshed. I'm sure you guys, I don't know how long you dated before it, but it was it makes a lot of sense for us to move in together, and I would like that.
Yeah. We've been together. I wasn't going to say before because I know I'm sure I'm going to get shit from some of your viewers of well, yeah, you've been together for a long time. We've been together for 15 years.
Yes.
And I'm good. I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
We pretty much grew up together. So all throughout our 20s, I wasn't I need to get married.
Yes.
In our group, one of our friends who first got married, it was when she was 28. We were all 28. It was so fun. We loved it. But even then, I felt like I was too young. Mm-hmm. I was too young to even think of the idea of marriage. I just was I'm okay where we're at.
Yeah.
We're totally fine. And then, like I said, it was I turned 30, still felt fine about a relationship. And then, but it was a slowly coming down of daily questions. It felt maybe not daily. It probably was weekly, but it just was chipping away at me. Mm-hmm. And I told Val that I was I just don't want to be that girl because I've seen my friends, and it really ripped me apart to see them like this, where they become desperate to get married. You're just clawing at your man.
And that's an energy that it doesn't help. And they feel, and then it's for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to, my cousin, one of my older cousins, and she's so, so sweet, but she had to drive her now husband to the courthouse during their lunch break. She tricked him.
Yeah.
And was we're getting married today. And I just don't want to do that.
Yes.
That's not my plan. Whenever he does it is when he does it. And I was fine with that until it just started ticking away at me or chipping away at me. And it would just, it started to bug me. So I did start coming home being what's going on? When are we going to get married? And I knew that wasn't really how I felt. But I was getting lectured over it.
External pressures, and it's hard to reject those. We live in an entertainment business where everything is about external pressure to a certain degree, and so of course it's going to weigh on you. And I'm sure it made you second guess your kind of the way that you were treating the idea of marriage.
Yeah,
and so how are you working to be more at peace with the situation, your present situation?
Well, I went from being very casual and not ever really bringing it up. I never brought it up because it just wasn't top of mind. The most I had ever thought about with weddings, even 30, 31, 32, was the playlist. I was I know what music I want. That's it.
New song, you get into a new song, you're going that one's going on the wedding playlist. Yes.
I know cocktail hour and reception music. Plus, I already, you hear a song, you're oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
But everything else I hadn't thought of. I haven't gone ring shopping, nothing, which I know a lot of people have already, they're already planned for it by year 5.
But that's not you, so it doesn't matter.
No, it didn't really matter to me. But, we've had more talks, I had to, And it's unfortunate because, like I said, I didn't want to come home every day and be like, when are you going to marry me? What is going on? You got to move out of, but it just started to get to the point of like, what is our plan? What's our plan? What are we going to do? I do want to get married and I do want to have children. I was never in a rush. My whole thing with it is if it happens, it happens as far as children go.
Right.
But I do want to get married.
Well, I mean, to a certain degree, if it happens, it happens. But also, it doesn't happen many times until you make the choice to make it happen.
Of course.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Good to set that intention.
And I definitely didn't want to try until I was married.
Sure.
So, but yeah, and you hear the thing, especially, I hear it from men, which like irks me more, is especially when the topic of children, they're like, well, you better hurry because you can't have kids after. And I'm like, well, I'm 35. They're like, oh.
You've got time.
Apparently not to a lot of guys. A lot of guys are like,
a lot of guys have no idea how women's bodies work.
No, I know.
That's very clear.
I know.
But it is, I mean, and honestly, from what we've talked about and what you're talking about now, I think this is great because you, I think, probably for a lot of it too, didn't want to seem too pressury on your boyfriend, but this is you speaking up for yourself and what you want, and saying this is what I want.
Yeah, I was like, I do want to get married, and he was even like, he admits that he feels hugely at fault because he was also, just like, oh, it'll happen when it happens, but I'm like, well, you got to make it happen. I don't want to ask you. Yeah. I mean, I do like it. I love the idea that a guy is like, I'm gonna ask your dad. I'm gonna, get down on one knee. I love that.
Yes.
I'm not a huge romantic, but I like that.
How do you deal with the moments emotionally when someone is hitting a nerve, hitting something that you're self-conscious about?
I mean, it depends where I'm at. If I'm at work, I just brush it off and I try to keep it professional, and I say, well, I'm going to try whether it happens or not, and we'll just go from there. But if it's my family and if it is my close friends, it will like wreck me. Like my dad, like it took me like a week or two to like shake it off, and it just made me think a lot of like, it made me feel like I was at fault when he was like, are you even going to marry him? And, the verbatim is what he said. And my dad, I love my dad to death, but when you said your parents separated 3 years ago, they were even talking about separation recently. I went to Japan recently, and I got back jet lagged like crazy. My mom's like, we need to have dinner, just me and you. And I was like, okay, we're going to have dinner. And she was like, it's really serious. So, we need to go somewhere that me and you can talk for a while. And I was like messing with her. I'm like, how serious is it? And she was like, ugh. Somewhere where we can talk a lot, Janine. And I'm like, okay, anyway. And she just was letting me know that, her and my dad, they argue all the time. They bicker all the time. They've been doing that forever. I just call them yin and yang. They're just so different. My mom's from Indiana. She's like, I mean, to me, I don't know. I feel like she's just the most beautiful person ever. She's from Indiana, black, 60-something, gorgeous, takes care of herself, and just like a God-fearing woman. The best person I feel like I could have grown up with. And then my dad's Japanese. He's from Hawaii. He's like laid back, but not. Smokes weed, but strict. Yeah. I don't know. It's like a very in between. But, he's had a lot of issues growing up with my grandparents. I think my dad deals with a lot of mental issues that he hasn't been diagnosed, doesn't want to address, doesn't want to talk. I call him man of few words. But when he does speak, it's either scary or it's like nothing. It's like him telling you to do something. But my mom and my dad were thinking of getting divorced recently. My mom was like, I found an apartment. I'm gonna move out. And they started going to marriage counseling again. So they've been doing better. My dad said that this whole time he didn't believe in God, and my mom was really hurt by that. He just lied, I guess.
He just said that? He just
recently said that, yeah.
And you grew up religious?
Yeah, we grew up in a Baptist church.
Baptist, yeah.
And he grew up Catholic, I believe.
Okay.
But then he converted with my mom.
Yeah.
But then he said, I don't know what he said exactly, but my mom told me that, she was really upset by it. And she was like, yeah, and he lied, Yeah. She just can't stand that he lied about it. You didn't have to lie about it.
Well, but have you talked to him about this?
No, he's He's not good at that stuff.
He's not going to talk. Because to me, what's interesting, that opens up such a whole Pandora's box of questions, because it's like, what is God to him?
Yeah.
Who is God? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Is it a religious God? Is it something more ethereal, something more outside of the bounds of that? To transition a little bit, looking at your Instagram, I always like to talk to people about who they are.
Yeah.
And you list it as actor, a DIYer, IG storyteller, and believer.
Yeah.
And so that's a really nice like foursome.
Is it?
Things.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I had to do that before I went to Japan. They're like, we need you to have your Instagram a little bit more cleaned up. And I was like, well, what do I put? Oh my gosh, I don't know. And I'm so lazy about posting. I'm like on and off about it. And, but when I was putting that, I just was like, I feel like that's accurate. I even feel like I even touch base on a couple of those things right now, like talking about my crafting and how that can get out of control. And definitely, love my relationship with God. I feel like it's more stronger than ever.
Tell me about this. Okay. So as a believer, what does believer mean to you?
Having a relationship with God.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does having a relationship with God look like to you?
For me, I guess seeking him for all of my needs, relying on him for all of my needs, instead of relying on myself, because that could feel like I'm going nowhere. Yeah, I guess that's the easiest way for me to put it, is just seek ye first the kingdom of God.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell me if this gets too personal, but I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Your relationship, is that still based around more of the religious principles, or does that, have you kind of found your own connection that is out of the dogma of it, or is there
probably my own connection? Yeah. Definitely not perfect.
In a town where I think a lot of people don't wear their spirituality or religion on their sleeve.
Yeah.
How do you interact with people who are judgmental about that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like just LA.
Right.
You'll meet people who I had a coworker one time, she just recently left, but if I even mentioned it, and it comes out so naturally sometimes, just like, I could just say like, oh, thank God. But she would be like, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in God. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
It's become a dirty word in a way, just the idea of God. Mm-hmm. And I have always had a foggy relationship with my past as a Catholic, and don't adhere to the dogma of that. I'm not a Catholic, but I think it's really interesting that so many people who are so empathetic to just liberal ideals of everybody is equal and all this stuff, and people who think differently, accepting them for who they are. There's this aspect of religion that is very non-inclusive and not accepted, and it's because of the bad things that religion has done.
Yeah.
But saying that it's done more harm than good is a farce, because there are so many people who, there is a goodness and a connectedness that they've found in it, that who are you to tell them that it was not good for them? You know?
True.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I've been processing a lot of this stuff lately, so
Yeah.
it's just interesting to talk. It's rare when I get to talk to somebody on the show about God specifically, who's not afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
I'm glad you said that though, because I had a friend who he's like an acquaintance more but good coworker friend, and he's not a believer, but he just one time he brought up all these things of like, oh well, this guy maybe thinks he saw on the news, or he's like, oh well, you believe in God, you're a Christian, well, I saw you went to Vegas. And I saw on the news that this guy did this, and he said it was because of God told him to do that. Yeah. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I go to Vegas, and mind your business. I went out for a friend's birthday and we danced. I'm not getting wasted and sniffing lines, but I'm out there having a good time. God wants me to have a good time. I don't think he's against that. Totally cool with anybody who doesn't believe. Yeah. Like I said, I have friends who don't believe, but I'm getting more comfortable in my own skin of being able to talk about it. It feels...
It's part of you.
Yeah. It's a part of me. And it feels great to not hide that and be able to be open about it. And just, it's nice to see when they're curious too, and they ask me more questions about it. But I just felt like I wasn't being myself, I guess, even around my closest friends, and
if they love you, they can go, good for her, not for me. It's not for me, but whatever. It's all fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it is.
Yeah.
You're not hurting anybody with this.
Yeah. I'm definitely not the type that's just like, you need, like you need to convert.
Exactly.
When you come to me, well, let's do this.
Yeah.
But if I'm not going to pressure anybody.
That's the best you can do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I've met people who do pressure and it can get a little out of hand, I feel like. And it is tough on relationships. So, and I definitely don't want to see that with the people who are, I'm close with.
Janine, what is the most important thing to you in your life?
It would be my relationship with God.
Yeah.
And my family, for sure. Like I said, I mean, if they say one thing to me that is like, for instance, the marriage thing, it just like rips me apart. I'll try my best to be like, oh, my sister asked me, why am I not married yet and what's going on? And it's fine. She needs to mind her business, but it will stay with me for weeks. I can't shake it off. It'll affect my relationship with my boyfriend or any topic. It doesn't matter. It definitely weighs on me. But
why is family so important to you?
Maybe it is a part of, my religion and my beliefs. But the first thing I think of is and I get emotional when I think about this, but when we were younger, and I don't know, maybe it's just how I was as a kid. I probably was a crazy kid, but growing up, I feel like all we had was each other. Being a mixed family, I feel like we weren't as accepted maybe as we would be nowadays. I met this other Black and Asian family. They're younger, and they have 2 young kids, and they're like, yeah, everybody loves it. And I was telling them, I was like, it's man,
a totally different time.
Yeah, I was like, back in the day in Gardena, it just wasn't like that. It was either like, oh, interesting.
Right. There was an oddity factor or something. It was not, it wasn't celebrated like it is now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you would think in California too, it would be, but I knew my dad's side of the family wasn't too accepting of it. They're better now. So I kind of felt like in our little house with just me, my sister, and my mom, my dad, I feel like it was us, and I go to them for everything, advice. Even if I know what they're going to say, I'm not going to like it. And my sister is like my best friend. And so I just feel like for years, because, growing up like that, like we were all we had.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they're so important to me, or one reason why they're so important to me. I love them so much. I think they're all amazing.
Yeah. Even
my crazy dad, who can say some crazy outlandish things, but they all show their love in different ways, and I understand them. Everybody has their different love language. I all understand their love language, but yeah, I don't know. They're just, maybe also because we're a big family, 4 kids, and maybe because I'm the oldest too.
Well, I mean, just it sounds like you have endured so much as a unit.
Yeah.
The bonds cannot be broken there.
Yeah.
And they are the ones who will get you more and better than anyone else.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's the other way around for all of you.
Yeah. It sometimes is even like not strange to me, but when my brothers, even Alexander, after we get into an argument, they like, it's a little weird to me sometimes when they seek my advice, just because I'm like, why don't you ask your friends? I don't know. But it reminds me of, I'm like, we're tight. We're pretty close, like I'm really close with my friends, but it just sometimes reminds me that like, this was my first really close friend group.
Yeah.
But even more so, because we'll even talk about our crazy friends with each other and relationships.
Well, you're all soulmates.
Yeah.
You're all soulmates.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
You are.
Yeah.
And like it is your first friend group, and like that, it all makes so much sense to me, and it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Well, what's your most important thing? Because now I'm curious.
The most important thing to me in my life is it's connection, but I've been leaning towards healing, helping people heal, and in turn helping myself heal.
That's amazing. Is that why you started this podcast?
I think so.
Wow.
I think so. I started it because I felt like I wanted to serve. I wanted to provide a service to my community.
Yeah.
And give an opportunity for people to ask themselves the questions that I wasn't asking before this. Because you don't give yourself that opportunity very often to go, what is important to me? What do I want? Who am I?
Yeah.
And you can ask those of yourself, but if someone is like, hey, the whole point of this is to answer this question, it's a little bit easier. So, yeah, that's what's most important to me. But the base of that, so you go even further, is love.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything more important. So,
yeah.
How does your heart feel right now?
Pretty good. I feel like, you get that like high energy after a great conversation, and like you wanted to talk about this. My brother also just told me he's not a believer too. So Alexander. So, and that just literally happened 2 days ago when I was like in Home Depot about to get a Christmas tree, and I'm like planning, I usually host Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
So I'm just walking around Home Depot thinking like, what? I saw you pray before, and it saddens me because, and I told him, I was like, I totally respect your decision. I respect your beliefs. It's totally fine. And I asked him about it. I was like, I've seen you pray before though. And he just said he felt like he had to. He felt like he had to.
He's playing a part.
Yeah. And he was praying on his own though. So that's why I was like, okay, well, and I don't want to get in an argument. Then we argue about a little bit of everything. So I didn't want to, that's his belief.
Yeah.
And vice versa. I want him to respect mine. So I think after this conversation, it felt good to just talk about why I am a believer, why this is so important to me, especially after that.
Yeah. And also there's a good chance his definition of believing in God is just different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's got to figure it out and live some life and then come back to it.
Totally agree.
And so like
everybody's journey is
cool.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's perfect.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And that one, again, it's, I mean, you have a good take on it, but it has nothing to do with you. Yeah. And if he wants to talk about it, then you'll just be ready to talk about it.
Yeah. And that's what I like I said, it weirds me out, but I like that we can get in an argument and 2 days later he'll text me about something, advice. He's the type that he wouldn't come to Christmas dinner sometimes because he was like, I was at a bar talking to a homeless guy. I'm like, okay, that's why you didn't come to Christmas dinner?
He's good, but he's going to figure it out. How old is he?
Yeah, 27.
Okay. He's got to, he'll figure it out. Well, I'm glad we could bring it all the way back. Alexander started us and ended us, and I love that.
That shithead.
Janine, I'm so glad you're my friend.
I am
I'm so glad that you wanted to be on the show, and thank you for spending some time.